Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I wanted to talk about how long the narcissist will love bomb. And you're probably wondering because you're watching the narcissist move on with the new supply. And as we know, narcissists will shove their new relationship in your face and they put it all over Facebook. And so a lot of times you can get caught up in the narcissist and the new supply. And maybe you're wondering when he's going to move her from the love bombing stage to the devaluation stage. And I'm in a support group, and this is something I see all the time in my support group. A lot of times, um, the women are kind of watching the narcissist's new relationship. They almost get obsessed with it because they do put it in your face and they try to make you feel like this new relationship is so much better than the relationship I had with you. So you get obsessed with watching it and you wonder when he's going to start devaluing her. And maybe the narcissist love bombed you for 2 months, and maybe him and the new supply have been together for 6 months, and it appears he's still love bombing her, and you're wondering what exactly is going on. Every narcissist is different. It depends on the type of narcissist they are. It depends on the supply. There's a lot of factors that come into how long the love bombing will last. But every relationship with a narcissist will go through a love bomb stage. And then it will transition at some point into the devaluation stage where they start doing subtle put downs and giving you the silent treatment, things like that, and they start looking for new supply. With me, it wasn't so much overnight. Every narcissist is different. So I've heard stories where it's almost like they describe somebody flipped a switch, where 1 minute he's love bombing and then they just flip a switch and then they're in full on devaluation. My ex was a covert narcissist and he was also very parasitic. So he didn't, with him, it was more gradual. It wasn't as fast. And it was very like a slow moving devaluation where it's almost like you don't even really realize you're being devalued. And of course, at the time, I didn't know because I didn't really know anything about narcissistic personality disorder. So I've read a lot about this online and wondered about this myself. And from everything that I have put together, from everything I've read, it seems like the typical love bombing stage lasts about 3 to 6 months. That's the typical number that seems to be given the most. Of course, it might be shorter, it might be longer because every narcissist is different, but they will all love bomb the supply at some point. Um, if they tailor themselves to each new person, so the narcissist is going to act different in every relationship. They'll almost appear like a completely different person because they're now mirroring this new person who is nothing like you, so they're not going to act the same, and they really do customize themselves to fit this new person's specifications. If the new supply that they're targeting maybe has stronger boundaries or she's not as codependent as you, it can appear that the narcissist is love bombing her for longer because he knows that he has to put in more work to extract the specific supply and fuel from this person. With me, I can definitely say that I was very codependent and had basically zero boundaries. I mean, I don't even want to say my boundaries were low. I think they were pretty non existent. And looking back, the love bombing lasted, I would say about 3 months. And our relationship was different. Ours started out long distance. So they might love bomb you during that long distance part while you're separated because, maybe they're trying to get into your house. You have money, they want you to support them, whatever the case is. Every narcissist is different. They're after different kinds of fuel. My ex always wanted to live with whoever he was currently using. So he was essentially homeless and needed supplies to provide a roof over his head. So that was his main motivation, but maybe your narcissist motivation is like sex or whatever. I mean, they're all different. It depends on the type that you're dealing with. But so with my ex, we started out long distance. We actually met online, and we never met up in person until 4 months into knowing each other. So within like the first week, and of course these are giant red flags now, but in the first week of me and him speaking, he actually told me he loved me. So we had never met, never met in person, hadn't Skyped or anything like that. And then within a month of knowing me, he actually started talking about wanting to get married and referred to me as his wife. He said he was going to get my name tattooed, and he had never even met me in person. So everything was very, very fast, very over the top, very love bombing. So, like for 3 months, I would say he love bombed me from a distance. And then he ended up moving to the city that I lived in. So we ended up meeting 4 months after initially first making contact online with each other. And we only met, I think it was 3 times we hung out in person, and then he moved into my house. So it was really weird. Um, so by the 4th month, I noticed he was like pulling away. So this was before we even met up in person. And I could already tell that he was I didn't know that he was devaluing me because I didn't know he was a narcissist. I didn't really know what was happening. I just thought he was going through something personal. He was kind of pulling away. I didn't really know what was happening. And then we ended up meeting in person. And I think it was like the third time. I think we only met 3 times in person, face to face. And then he ended up moving into my house. So once he moved in, then he kind of love bombed me again. So it kind of started the cycle over again. And I don't know if that's typical with every narcissist, but I think it was, he wanted to get into my house. He essentially was homeless and he needed a roof over his head. So if he just started acting like a complete jerk to me, I would have kicked him out. So he then had to love bomb me again and start being sweet and romantic and writing me love letters and doing all of these things because he had to sort of start that pattern over again to be able to live in my house. I mean, think about it. If he started being a jerk to me, I would have kicked him out. So they will give you love crumbs and kind of start the cycle over again and appear to like love bomb you again because they're trying to get something out of you. So he restarted the cycle. And that time, I would say the love bombing lasted, it's hard to remember, but I would say maybe 2 to 3 months. And then that was like the end of it. So from that point on, he never really love bombed me again for the duration of the relationship. So at that point, it switched to devaluation. He was pulling away. He was giving silent treatments. He wasn't being affectionate. He had like little interest in having sex anymore. I mean, there was a big change in sexually with him. He just had no interest in sex anymore. And he wouldn't be as kissy and touchy-feely and affectionate and all of that. But of course, if we were out in public, he always put on the show. He would be holding my hand and kissing me in the store and be really clingy and be all over me to keep up appearances that he's normal. So just because maybe your ex is with a new supply and he's been with her 6 months now and it appears he's still love bombing her, that doesn't mean he likes her more. That doesn't mean he loves her. That doesn't mean he actually has real feelings for this person. He is incapable of love. We know that. Narcissists cannot love anybody, including their own family, their own children. So we know that he doesn't love this new supply. It's not possible. So a lot of times it can confuse you when you're watching the narcissist with the new supply and it seems like he's treating her good for a longer period of time, and then you start making yourself think, well, I think he loves her, maybe it was me, he seems like he's being different to her. You have to remember too, the new supply is not you. So she's going to have different boundaries. She's going to have different things that he has to customize himself. She might not be as codependent as you were. So maybe he has to try harder, or she has some boundaries, and so he has to love bomb her a little bit more to get through those boundaries. With me, mine were very, very poor. So also too, if The narcissist knows that you're out there. They might think that you're watching because they usually watch your social media. So they think, okay, well, if I'm watching her, she's watching me. So they usually think that you're out there looking. And even if you aren't, they know that somebody you know is looking. You probably still have mutual friends, mutual acquaintances, whatever. And they know that it's going to get back to you what they're doing. So they're going to put on a show and maybe even love bomb the new supply longer to hurt you and to try to devalue you more if you have caused a narcissistic wound in them. If you unmasked the narcissist and figured them out, that is like their biggest fear. They are scared to death of getting unmasked. So for you to unmask them, they freak out. They immediately have to get into a new relationship and put their mask on and make it look like they're normal, make you look crazy, make it look like you were the problem in the relationship and you're the reason it didn't work out and they're happy now and blah, blah, blah. And also, if you broke up with the narcissist, they like to be in control. They like to be the ones to say when it's over. And in my case, I was the one that ended the relationship with my ex, and I know it hurt him because he didn't have a new supply lined up. So he was kind of floundering for a little bit before he was able to secure the new supply. And I do think it caught him off guard because he was kind of like, I don't know that he expected me to break up with him because I always had such poor boundaries. And I think he kind of thought he could always manipulate me and just, con me back and I could just do whatever he wanted. And so when I did break up with him, I think it was really surprising to him. And I know that it caused a wound because it's, anytime the narcissist is broken up with, it's a rejection and they do not handle rejection well. So if you've caused wounds in them or ended the relationship or whatever, they are out for blood. They hate you. They want to make you suffer. So when they do move on with the new supply, they're going to make it look like they're love bombing her longer, or they may actually be love bombing her longer because that's what she requires. They do customize themselves every single time. It doesn't mean she's better than you. It just means she's different and requires different things. Maybe the new supply has lower boundaries than you, and he had to love bomb you longer and he moves on with the new woman and he only love bombs her for like 2 weeks or something. So they change in each relationship because they really do have to customize themselves and tailor themselves to that person's specific needs. So their new relationship is always going to look a little different than the relationship that you had with them, but it will follow the same pattern of the love bomb and the devalue. So another thing is that the narcissist may have already shifted the new supply into the devaluation stage, but you're just not seeing it. You're not a fly on the wall in their relationship. You don't know what happens behind closed doors. You're not in the relationship with them. You don't see the narcissist and the new supply alone together, and you're not part of their everyday conversations. You see a little tiny snippet that they put on social media, and nobody's going to publicize the negative things. You're only going to publicize the good things and make it look like you're happy and make it look like your relationship is great and whatever. So if that's where you're getting your information, to where you think he's love bombing the new supply longer because you're looking at his social media and it seems like he is, 99.9%, I promise you, that's a total lie. I mean, social media is a lie, and it's a way to make it look like they're happy, they're better than you, and whatever. I know that with my ex's new supply, her friends and family weren't supportive of her relationship with my ex. I think they could kind of tell he was a con artist or like a bullshit artist, and so they weren't supportive. And she decided to stick by his side anyway. And so I think she has a motive for putting positive things on social media too, because it's sort of like to show her friends and to show her family, like, you guys were wrong. And, he is a great guy and look at how wonderful he is. She doesn't want to be wrong. She doesn't want her family and friends to be right about him. So a lot of times you fight and you don't want it to be for nothing. You are in denial. You want them to be this good person that you thought they were. You don't want everyone else to be right. So the new supply has a motive for pretending that everything's roses. A lot of times the narcissist is triangulating the new supply with you, and maybe they're comparing the new supply to you behind closed doors, and so they're causing jealousy within the new supply. She feels like maybe the narcissist is comparing the two of you and saying, well, so and so used to cook these kind of meals, or, she never complained about this, or she always did this. And it's a way to make the new supply freak out that you were better, and they feel like they have to compete with you. So the new supply is going to post positive things on social media because she wants you to see them as well and think that, like, she won the prize or whatever. So the new supply has a reason to make things look amazing on social media, and the narcissist has a reason to make things look amazing on social media too. So if you're just watching their Facebooks and you're looking at that and thinking, well, it looks like he's still love bombing her because he's calling her beautiful, and he's not really criticizing her, and they're taking trips together, or they look happy, they're posting happy pictures, and it looks like, everything's still great. And like, I don't understand why they're not fighting, why he's not devaluing her. You don't know that that's not what's happening. They're not going to put that on social media. When I was with my ex and we were fighting and he was pulling away and he was devaluing me and just being like a jerk, nobody knew. Literally nobody. I never said a peep on social media. I never posted anything. He never posted anything. So it wasn't out there for the world to see. And because it was embarrassing, it really was. And I tried to keep that part hidden. And that's probably what the new supply is doing as well. She doesn't want to be wrong to her family and friends. She still is believing he's the good guy he said he was. And so she's hoping he'll change and go back to that perfect guy. You don't really know what exactly is going on. So a lot of times it just looks like they're not devaluing the new supply, but they are. It's just behind closed doors and you don't know about it because the narcissist doesn't want to show on social media that they're losing, that their life is in shambles, that they're doing worse than you. And they always want to be the winner. They always want to be the one who, like, oh, look, I traded up, I'm with this great person and we're happy and we're doing this. Well, they have to make it look like that because they don't want to look like they were the loser and that you're the one who's better off without them. And they're kind of floundering in this new relationship and, it's not going well. So, don't look at their social media because they literally will post things to mess with your head and screw with you on purpose. That's what they do. And they're purposely going to put happy pictures and purposely put lovey-dovey, ooey-gooey posts because they're hoping that you're watching and they're trying to mess with you. The narcissist has an axe to grind with you because you caused a wound and they're pissed off and they're out for blood now. So don't look at their social media because none of it's true. And remember that they are purposely posting things to hurt you. That is what they want. They want you to question yourself. They want you to wonder, was it me? Was I the problem? Is he actually happy now? That is what they want you to do. So don't fall into that. Don't play into their game and start doing the self-doubt stuff because that's exactly what they're doing. They're designing their social media on purpose to make you feel these feelings. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was somewhat helpful. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.